Hey, good morning, friends. Welcome to Empires and Puzzles. Soul Exchange arrives, just went live, and it's the same order, the same set of heroes. Nothing has changed. So, we have spoken, this has been out, so now this information comes out fairly quickly. So, let's dive in and see what makes sense and what to go for. So, the first one, of course, is I'm going to maintain this because all these heroes will have to be given LB2 and 25. So, this is the possibility. So, from that perspective, we will evaluate them. So, that's White Star, part of the dwarf family, dispelling benefits, resists poison, 20% of the damage is shared with allies. Those are the stats. They're not very low, but they're not recent also. I'm not saying latest, recent. Recent is the last 6 to 9 months. She's older than that, but what makes her impactful? So apart from the max preview, that's her 8th power, which is 20% defense up. Paragon of Constellation at average speed. The first portion of the special is never misses its target. Second, 620% damage to the target. That's a good damage. Percentage. Impact, not as much as when she just arrived because the meta was very different at that time. Heals all allies for 40% of the damage dealt. This helps because a damaging healer always helps. Allies get plus 74% defense against special skills. So it is straight against special skills, nothing particular element or limitations. So it's really cool. All aspects of her are brilliant. This is the stats are the only bit less. Otherwise, every other sense, she's brilliant. And one of the testimonies that justifies and confirms that is I found her on quite a few defenses. And I'm talking about a little bit in the higher tier, 3100 cup size, cup numbers. But as I brought it down to collect more heroes so that I could test, I found her on a lot more. So the 29 to 2700 cup count, a lot of defenses. So that depends on where you spend your time. You'll be able to gauge that. Having said that, let's move to the next one. This is the Lunar Healer, slow speed. I'm not going to go into all these threadbare, so I'll skip that. That's the Lunar bonus. Recovers 10% health when they receive a status ailment or a negative stack. And enemy minions can't attack or use abilities. So that's a unique thing. Now, these are the stats. Primary stats for a healer is to see what's the defense and what's the health. And you can see it's on the lower side because this fellow arrived a while back. In terms of his special, rejuvenating elixir at slow speed, all allies get plus 54% defense, which can go up to plus 79%. And this is covering all kinds. So not only special skills, pokes, and every other part. So it's basic defense up. That 5% increase every time they are hit during 3 turns will cap it to plus 79%. All allies will recover 1000 health after 3 turns, but if that is removed in whichever way, instant 1400 health recovery. All allies gain 25% mana after 3 turns, but if that is removed, dispelled, or whatever the duration ends, gains 35% mana instead. So, useful fellow. 8th power is regenerates 300 boosted health over 6 turns. This means nothing today. So I will skip that. Moving forward to the fire element Cardinal Rallyu. You can clearly see this one gives the cover to one of the allies, irrespective of which faction or gang the ally comes from. There's this passive. Let me read it once if there is another one that pops. So when this character receives damage from a special skill or in place of a character in cover, there's a 60% chance to deal 20% of the received damage to all enemies. So there is a counterattack possibility. Max preview. Aether power is fiend resist, irrelevant. Web of spies. At average speed, he's an impact all damager, 330% to all enemies. Summons a spy fiend for all enemies. This fiend does the usual stuff. I'll go to the end. It steals one of its target's dispellable buffs and gives it to one character on the opposite team. So a stealer. Stealer fiend, that is useful and helpful. However, his impact has reduced and he's more of a liability, with Arco being offered in previous Soul Exchange and hence Arco being available with quite a lot of players. Milady Deinta, that's clearly the same special, family bonus, and this, in terms of stats, you can actually see it's very dated and very old. Her Aether power is defense up, 20% for 6 turns. Masterful manipulation at slow speed. She is impact all, 385% damage to all enemies. She regenerates health for herself, so can survive by herself. And the 2 portion of the specials are fantastic. And when they came, despite her being slow speed, she was still painful because if she fired, it would end the show. Today, stats really bad. That's the only thing that drawings. Otherwise, the special's fantastic. All enemies reflect status effect buffs to a random character on the opposite side. So that's technically willfully gifting it to the opposite side. All kinds of status effect buffs. And all allies reflect status ailments to the random character on the opposing team for 6 turns, both 6 turns. So useful but dated, and that's where she gets limited. Moving forward to this fellow, I couldn't find him at all anywhere on defense to test. Teddy, that's the nature element monk bear gang fellow. Bonus available to 1 to 3. Heroes all received defense status ailments will be replaced by 40, 60, and 70% defense buffs for 3 turns. Character recovers 5% health when they receive a buff or a positive stack. You can see that's low stats, but when you see the max preview, it's a little, very slightly less crazy, but still, his special has to be mind-boggling to justify low stat acquisition. The Aether power is ailment immunity for 6 turns. This is a good one. Call to Hibernate at average speed is a special, deals 180% damage to all enemies. So that's nothing crazy and high. All enemies fall asleep and receives plus 70% increased damage while sleeping. So that also helps. Sleeping character cannot gain mana or attack, and sleeping target is woken once it takes damage. This damage excludes damage from minions, fiends, mega fiends, and mega minions. That is not fair. I think that should be included. Effect is uncleansable. All allies regenerate 1200 HP over 4 turns. So I would say the special is good. Stats are dated, and he can be irritating. But that 180% damage is less, but the ailment of increased damage is useful. So, well, he could be ace in your roster. Depends on your style of play and in what level and what way you're playing. Well, I wanted to have coffee with Aramus, so that was boiling. Got it. So we move to the next tier, the tier of 15 heroes. We just completed 10 tier, and in 15, the first hero, Dark Element, is Aramus, Musketeer. That's, I think, the third Musketeer in the offering. We know what this does, and we also know what this does. We can see the max preview, stats, plus 50% increase of any healing received for 6 turns. That's the 8th power. Charmer's Blade at average speed deals 375% damage to the target and nearby enemies, boosts all allies' health by 30% of damage dealt. All allies are immune to new status ailments for 3 turns, and it cannot be dispelled. And only the caster gets plus 30% defense for 3 turns. I still use Aramus. He's at LB1. What has happened is his stats have become dated, and hence his damage is reduced considerably, which means the 30% damage dealt, despite it being boosted health, has reduced considerably. It does help because it's boosted health, which means additional padding can happen. His immunity of status ailments is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and undispellable. Big time helps. Defense to himself to an extent helps, because you can see with max is still 1062 and 1952 health, defense and health respectively. So useful fellow, since he's a damager, boosted health and ailment protector. He goes on the team along with the Dark Gang and Gazelle's buff. He needs support, so I have heroes that support, and that's where he scores. He's still surviving. Moving into the next, Holy Element, Jana Janna. She is a double whacker, part of the Masked God family. It has a bonus. This character summons a masked minion with 8% health and 8% attack, inherited from the caster. There is a passive. This character is cleansed of status ailments when minion owned by them is destroyed. So the minion collaborates via the family bonus and the passive to deliver. You can see the stats. 2 Sides of the Moon at average speed is a special. Deals 1 whack to a target of 470% and gives minus 44% defense down for 4 turns. Second, 470% damage to a random but different enemy. Remember, different enemy. And that enemy will get minus 44% mana generation. So she was fantastic. And combining that with her 8th power of plus 20% attack was really cool. Of course, she's become dated, and I'll leave it at that. I've done a test, so you can actually check that out on the channel. Moving to Turban. Well, I have tested him also. Videos there on the forum, link, and the YouTube channel. So on the same channel where this video is. Turban is a fire element fighter, bear. So we know what that does. And we know this passive of the bear gang. That's 5% health when they receive a buff or a positive stack. That's what Teddy informed us in the previous row. Max preview, you can see the numbers. This shows that is a little better compared to other fellows. 8th power is plus 20% attack for 6 turns. Mark the prey at fast speed. The target receives 80% damage for all the damage their allies receive for 3 turns. So there is an ailment mark that the target receives, and this is a simultaneous whack job that happens. Target gets minus 44% defense for 3 turns and deals 200% damage to the target nearby enemies. So there's an impact 3 damage. There is an impact 1 ailment, and there is a impact 1 defense down. So once the target has got that ailment and has the defense down, the target is sure shot sniped because of that. So useful fellow, you can check him out. Fast speed fellow, so that helps, and check out the video. Moving forward, Fortuna, another Masked God family hero. It's the same stats, you can see in Max preview is extremely low because she came with the first lot, if I remember. Yeah, oh, she was a special along with Jove and her. They were two offered, I think, 3 years back. So obviously stats are extremely low. Her Aether power is Fiend Resist. That's irrelevant today. Bad Fortune, if you try and pick her up, is the special. And at fast speed. Dispels buffs from all enemies. That's the first thing, which is useful. Deals 150% damage to all enemies. That's less than a poke. And then summons a corrupted masked fiend to all the enemies. Fiend does the usual stuff and gives you minus 36% attack till it's there. It can't be cleansed, of course. Arco removes him, which means you can check the video how she actually screwed her own team and let Arco go and have a good time. The another good part is she is ice element, which is weak against nature. So that even works even more in the favor of Arco, that I don't need to carry too many others. I can basically just color stack 2. So one will be green dominant and deal with her. Having said that, check that video. It should help you. Smart Tongue, the final one in the tier of 15. That's a Goblin bonus, available to 1, 2, 3 heroes. Each time this hero takes damage from an enemy's special skill, removes 50, 75, and 100% boosted health from all allies. The passive, famous Goblin passive, 50% chance to deal 90% damage to all enemies. All enemies get minus 25% accuracy. This is written 50%, but it's almost 99%. I don't need to say anything further. Everybody who's listening, watching, has experienced that. That's the Max preview, and it's way better than the previous chick. Ailment Immunity is a very good Aether power and shows that she cannot be corrupted. Goblin Serenade. At average speed is special. Wither. All allies get minus 350 attack. You have to check. There are 2 videos that I made as part of this Soul Exchange testing, and you have to check those videos out. This first portion of the special starts eating away the attack potential of the enemies, and their attack stats terribly go down, significantly go down, and they become literally epic, or even in some cases a rare hero type of attack numbers. And hence, yes, they will have survival, but that also gets impacted with the next one. Reduces max health of all enemies by 700, and this increases in case of boosted health. So she neuters the attack of the enemies and she reduces the max health, which means what are you going to do with that defense? So absolutely game-changing hero. When she arrived, I've had a great time with her. So that's that. And the last portion of the special is absolute kick-ass, which is all enemies get minus 45% defense against special skills for 4 turns. There is nothing that I would change in this hero except the stats. But that being dated is a reality. But everything else is fantastic, including the talent. So we move forward. There's 2 videos, one alone and another one I think along with Mad Hammer, testing her out. So 2 goblins. Check that out if you need some more clarity. Moving to the tier of 20, which is with costume Anubis. One of the conversation going on is Anubis has a costume and hence the stats are fantastic and is worth considering. Well, I have made a video. I think that was the first or maybe the second video that I made. So check that out, which will give you an idea how useful Anubis is. Stats don't matter unless you are a active damager. If you're a passive support and damage over time character, then you don't have too much time because there are enough heroes to take you out. Yeah, there could be an occasional case of irritating defeat, created by this fellow or a victory created by this fellow once in a while or once in blah blah, doesn't matter. It has to be the percentage of impact has to be higher than 50 to consider if there are other options available. So I'm going to leave it at that. Fighter class, ability to revive. We know what the Moon family bonus does. They've been around for a long time. This is the claim to fame. 41, 41, 42. Costume bonus plus that mana is standard. And then there are 3 portions of the special. So that helps. 60% chance to deal 70% damage to all enemies. And dispels the latest dispel buff from all. So there's a 60% chance. But the next one makes it when this character casts a special skill, any of their passive skills that grant extra effects on cast are guaranteed to activate. So this ensures 100%. And the last one is character gains 5% mana when they receive a status ailment or a negative effect. You can see the max preview. Dodge is the 8th power, useful. Mark of the Jackal, that sounds really fancy. At average speed, inflicts target with greed for 3 turns. Friendly effects from special skills only affect characters with greed. You can read further. Greed prevents all other heroes in the same team from gaining friendly effects. So if he has marked 1 target, which is what Anubis is allowed to do, that only that character gets the benefits of the special skill. Rest of the fellows cannot. And this impact includes all buffs, healings, growth effects. So Gazelle buff, you can see it in the video, test video, is available only to the one that has been marked. Rest of the fellows don't get any benefit of the healing or the buffs. Then moving forward, all enemies receive 1266 poison damage over 3 turns. This is a good number, maxed out. So fully maxed out ensures that the poison damage over turn really goes high. And the last portion is all enemies get minus 28% defense for 3 turns. Useful. McGarry, the holy healer chick. You can see the stats. She's been around for a while. Part of the Opera family, and they have a fantastic family bonus. 1, 2, 3 heroes, 5, 10, 15%, attack, defense, and HP addition. This character has innate resistance against status ailments and negative stacks that affect defense. Doesn't apply to status ailments that affect elemental defense though. So that's the first passive. Second passive is character receives 10% health each time a status ailment expires or is cleansed, removed, or reallocated from them. Activates only once per turn. You can see the stats. Defense up of plus 20% is the 8th power. What do I think? Well, this is on the lower side because she's dated. This is fairly good, but it was extremely high for the time when she arrived. Deceptive small talk is the special. I'm not going into all this because that is discovered by each of you. The main decision is going to be based on what is available over here, not on the talents so much. So, recovers 60% health for all allies, which is significant. That's a very high percentage. Lifts the latest cleansable status ailment from all allies and randomly distributes them on enemies. Fantastic. All active status ailments are uncleansable for all enemies for the remaining turns of the status ailment. And all allies get plus 60% general defense, which includes all kinds of damage coming, whether it's coming from a mega fiend, mega minion, minions, or special skills. Everything is covered in this defense down. So she is brilliant. She's doing a lot of brilliant stuff, plus excellent healing, cleansing. So, yeah. Moving forward, Mad Hammer, that's the Mad Goblin. We know what this does now, thanks to Smart Tongue, and also know what this does. You can see the stats. Heedless Hammer Flurry at average speed is a special, but before that, 20% attack is the 8th power. That helps. Deals 500% damage to the target and has 50% to deal 450% damage to a random different enemy. It's explained over here. Summons a black boar mega minion with 62% HP and 230% attack. Now this one is a real beefy badass fellow. I've done the test, so you can check that out, how that impacts. The target hit by the black boar mega minion can't get their status ailments cleansed or reallocated. So this is not something crazy and amazing, but everything above is fantastic. Only you'll need to deal with the stats aspect, but the mega minion does his job. This is a very old grandpa that has been put over here. You can see the stats are terribly low. The good old guardian hippo that I still use. Barbarian, that's that. No passive. Brutal support, and his support is indeed brutal at fast speed. For the next 3 turns, this character deals 225% damage to all enemies. Each time any other ally casts their special skill, it's explained, affects only mana generated from matching tiles or mana gained by defense team at the end of their turn. All allies get plus 34% mana generation for 3 turns. So they jumbled this. This character can trigger this effect once per turn. Good. So I jumbled that up. Well, he, the way I use him, I should have made a video of him and I just missed out. But then you can just check out all my war videos and you'll find out what he is. But I missed making that specific video. Let me see if I can do something about it later today. But the next, the important factor that he requires to be absolutely lethal is elemental defense down, all those kinds of support and some kind of a buff. And then he causes mayhem. So that's what I do. I use him with Cinnamon, and then I have Nautica. Then I have got a defense down character, and I have this guy, Lucius. I can't remember exact name, but the other blue, the blue, fuck that. Let's go and check. I don't know why too many fucking heroes. So, yeah, Timaeus. So, these are the blue fellows that I use him along with. And he delivers. But really, nothing less than LV 225. Moving forward to Ferris, the final fellow in the tier of 20 and in the offering in this soul exchange that I'm going to speak about. That's the nature elemental rogue dodger, part of the construct family. First passive, resist special skill blocking. Just cannot be blocked, which is excellent. Ailment immunity combined with that, excellent. So, which ensures that he is going to fire the special. This is the cool part. Corrosive core depends on how much it's charged. 194% poison damage for 3 turns and reduces, that is lowers the target's mana generation by minus 13% each turn for those 3 turns. Deals extra damage against minions and mega minions. So really brilliant. You can see the stats being a little lower. Corroding Cutlass at average speed is a special, deals 390% damage to the target and nearby enemies. The target and nearby enemies receive 873 bleed damage over 3 turns. Target nearby enemies get minus 60% defense against nature for 3 turns. I have made a video of him. You need to check that out. I really love that video because there were 2 Ferrises. There was one on defense and I had my offense Ferris at work. So you can see the impact of those fellows, how this fellow operates on defense. Because he's impact 3, there is good possibility of him basically whacking 1 or 2. Ideally, if he whacks 3, that's brilliant. So that can be seen all in that video that I have tested and put up. Brilliant hero. Now, what do I think about the heroes in this particular soul exchange? Each of the tiers. So in the tier of 10, Clearly, White Star is the top pick, and rest of the fellows, I will not say Gongnu, even the Cardinal, or even this one, not worth it. This could be a little bit of a fun Teddy, but clear winner for 10 heroes. Unless you have a rare situation, special situation where you just cannot pick a dark hero, then obviously look at it. Teddy seems to be an exciting new one with a little better stats. I'm surprised that I'm saying Teddy, but White Star is by a long distance a leader over there. She is competing also in the whole 15 hero offering. That's how brilliant she is. In the tier of 15, Aramus is extremely useful. Turban, useful, depends on the way you play. But the top hero to pick up in case you don't have Smart Tongue. And if you already have Smart Tongue and if you're using her extensively, picking up a dupe also makes sense because she is excellent. There's nothing in the hero card which can be substandard or can be questioned. She basically makes the enemy weak, and through the passive, she also has a damage potential. It's a small one, but still there is damage. Brilliant hero. So that's that tier. Moving forward to the 20 hero tier, the winner is clearly Ferris by a long shot. Long shot. Why? There are already quite a few good healers. So yes, unless you really need Mega Gyri, Ferris is the top choice in this. That's it. Mad Hammer and the Guardian Hippo get a special mention because they are good. Mad Hammer is excellent by bringing that Mega Minion. And if you lack a Mega Minion, worth considering Mad Hammer. But you require a good combo of elemental defense down, and attack buff to ensure that Guardian Hippo gets all the support to keep doing it. And then he basically turns it into a impact all snipe. That's how powerful he is still. So that's what I have to say. A unique player will pick up Anubis, but then if you have all in the roster, it could be a collector item because you won't use this hero much. So I want to make that very clear. And if you're picking for the defense because of the stats, really not worth it. Having said that, these are all my personal views. I don't expect all my views to be brilliant. There are innovative players who innovate scenarios, and I get blown off when I see some ideas or even an occasional video. That's the beauty of intelligence that each one of us carries. So whatever I may have said about heroes, if you feel that specific hero impacts your roster in a better way, go for it. I have shared from my experience. That's all that I can do. So having said that, who am I going to pick? It was basically a tie between, because I already have one Smart Tongue, I have a second Smart Tongue that I have to start working on. She did pop up. And Goblin dupes really bugged the hell out of me. But okay. So White Star and Ferris are the two fellows. I use Ferris a lot, and I am currently working on Dreadstar. So I realized that I will use Dreadstar way more than this one. So I would rather take, yes, White Star does give me a benefit of not taking a healer and taking a damager. But then I already have two Aramuses. So I would rather take Aramus because Aramus feels a much better option. And one Aramus is LB1. I can LB1 the second one and strengthen the fellow. Because of the Gazelle buff, I have enjoyed a little benefit of not LB limit breaking the second one. But I would rather invest in the hero that I already have and hence don't need mats and emblems for a new hero. So White Star, I'm going to let go, and I am going to pick up Ferris. I occasionally still pull in the astral portal, White Star could pop up as a dupe also. So I'm using that rationale and logic. So that is also something which is real for me. But Ferris will hit the ground running because I'm already using him. So a second Ferris to team up with a second Evelyn would be absolutely brilliant. And you have seen my green team. It brings to knees the latest meta teams. That's why I have 2 elemental defense downs going with the Gazelle buff to hunt. So I have got 2 Arcos leveled, I have 2 Evelyns leveled, and now I'll have 2 Ferrises leveled. That is nice killer team. So Ferris it is. I've long wanted. Second Ferris, do not know. He will arrive in this way. Welcome to the roster, buddy. That's it. Cheers. Good luck making your decision. And catch you in the next video.